you really you, Tracey?
Well, I
Or am
wasn't going
I
to
looking?
mention, but I'm actually an heiress. Is that how you even say it? And I am also queen, and I just live like this so I can, experience life differently, get a change of perspective.
Can you guess that we're talking about secret identity today? And can you guess that Tracey has a few reservations about that trope?
I
Yes.
don't know. Tell me when you've ever found out a prince was hanging out at your coffee shop. Has that happened?
I thought, he was just some starving college student, but he turned out that I could have landed my match and that what I should have done is tipped my coffee into his lap.
That's how to catch a prince dressed as a guy that works at a coffee place or is attending one. Like for all you know,
Yes.
I find it hard to suspend my disbelief enough to fall into this trope heavily. But maybe it happens so often and so well, so cleverly disguised are these people that we just don't find out. We don't know. We don't know how often this could happen in real life. So maybe I need to cut it some slack.
I read one, Lisa Kleypas, and I've always liked her historical romance. And she had kind of a secret identity trope going on in Love in the Afternoon. And essentially, an officer in the Crimean War was writing to a woman he had just met prior to being shipped off to Crimea. And he was talking to her about the horrors of war. And she, being quite flighty and repelled by his glumness, asked her friend to write the reply. So the friend, being quite touched by the soldier's descriptions, decided that, okay, I'll do this for his sake and I'll do it just once. Impersonating her friend, she writes the reply back, and then one reply becomes two, becomes three, and they start developing kind of fondness for each other through the correspondence. Well, of course, eventually he comes back from the war. Awkward, because he meets the very shallow woman he thought he was writing to. And then he begins to suspect that it could be this friend. And it unfolds from there. I wouldn't recommend the book as a tightly written, plotted novel, but I did like the idea that there was a genuine reason for why she assumed a secret identity. She really did want the best for him and for her friend, but of course, it kind of unravels for her as she finds herself falling in love with him.
It sounds like an interesting story. When I was thinking secret identity, I'm thinking like millionaire that takes a lower position or something to meet with the commoners. I don't know. It's not put that way, but that's kind of what it means. But that's an interesting line in the one you read, because it was kind of a sweet lie rather than a more self-serving kind of sick of life how it is. I'm gonna go see how the other people do it.
Yeah. So I could buy that one. If we were to treat this trope as the whole idea of keeping a secret, you have a secret identity. The other often one is a secret baby. And that one I have a harder time with, only if you were unable to contact the father of the baby, to me, is a reason for not telling the father that, you have a baby. So that, I think that has to be cleverly done. I remember reading Fancy Pants by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. And the book is very witty and very well written, but I couldn't get over how the heroine decided that she would not tell the hero about their baby. And the thing is, and she wanted to do it because she wanted to remake her life. And I still couldn't buy it. And even now, I can't buy it. And I could understand if maybe she wanted to do that for maybe a year, and then she kind of got buyer's regret, wish that she could go back, have that second chance, and we could then have a second chance. But she is only found out 10 years later. So I could never get over that. So I think you have to be careful with secret identity and secret baby, because it can quickly dissolve into falseness, and the reader will just reject that whole trope and walk away. Becomes another wall banger.
But if it's on your
Yes.
Kobo, don't do it. Throw it on the couch. Don't be too angry with
Yes.
your Kobo. I think a problem with second chance, and I'm talking more like I'm rich and being a commoner again. I'm kind of stuck on that. That one just irritates me. But you look at these people, sure, they get along great. Doesn't matter that they're from two different worlds. And then they find out that the person's rich or whatever. And they're just like, oh no, you should have told me. Yeah, I should have. Let's go live in the mansion. And then it's kind of like, okay, like it's such a big lie. Unless someone's writing a story or making a movie with the bulk of it getting over that lie, which would be kind of interesting, then how come we build up, and then there's a quick resolution to the lie and then they live happily ever after? I just have trouble buying that. It isn't reasonable.
So what you need to do if you're going to do a secret identity is have it uncovered at the 50% mark, at the major turning point, so that you have the first half where you have the tension of keeping the secret and watching the dynamic between them heat up, and then having this explosion in the middle, and then having to equally work through that until we get to an amazing reconciliation at the end.
A lot of that is put in the climactic part, is that they find out and then it's okay. For a lot of us viewers and readers, it's not okay that you took me down this path. That was such a big deal that it had to be kept secret, but it's not an issue that is like, it's just easily resolved. So why did we have this whole part in the background anyway?
In the historical I read, that it did come out relatively early, like around the 50% mark, but it was quickly switched over into more of how he did not feel himself adequate to be her life partner or to marry her, because he felt he was too scarred by the war itself. So he had his wounds, so to speak. So it's almost like there was a switch in the entire trope, instead of fully exploring the whole idea of a secret identity. I think it is a rich enough vein to mine without having to try to string it out. Once you find that they are not who they thought they were, well, it shakes your whole understanding of who you are, because you're entwined with that person. So yes, this has to come out, and we need to have a battle with trust and with faith and with all its implications on the people around you.
Their hopes and dreams for the future are tied to who they thought the person was, and then they come back and that's not even, it not only changes the present, it changes the past and the future. Poof. Yes. All in one quick thing.
The ultimate con really is what they're playing with, instead of it being the prince to pauper, and you found out, okay, well, this person isn't as rich as they were passing them off to selves to be. Well, then that becomes a bit of self-reflection for you, because you have to think to yourself, oh, what kind of person am I, that when I find out that someone is not as rich as I had set my heart on them being, what does that say about me? Off we go for another exploration, right? So, I think we have talked ourselves into not quite dissing on secret identity as much as we thought. There's lots of room to make it a powerful trope, but it's just that sometimes it's not treated with the depth that should be. It becomes a substitute for some other mechanism that's going on there as a reason to get someone through a situation.
I think you're right. Most of the examples I've seen and read are just very superficial. I guess I read it to pass the time. it didn't leave me with more than that, right?
And then the other thing that you have to solve with the secret identity is, why is it not discovered sooner, and why do they not reveal it sooner? Especially when you see that the person seems to be falling in love with who you really are and has gotten glimpses into your true self. Well, why wouldn't you? Yeah, you need to have a compelling reason to enter into a secret identity, or keep the identity of someone hidden from another, such as a baby. And then you have to have a good reason for sustaining it, like not for 10 years, because you're trying to remake yourself.
You got to expedite that process.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's always good to talk about these things. Get so much of a different angle.
Now that we've revealed all our secrets about the secret identity. So as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us your secrets. Don't keep them to yourself any longer. Bye for now.
Bye.